And welcome back here. In Atlanta, we've got Justin Rios versus Sergio Ferry, and both players scrapping it out to try to get to 12-2-1 TBS. Unclear if that's going to be good enough for them to top 8.
Yeah, I mean, it's likely to be the record that makes top 8, but not everyone at 12-2-1 is going to get there.
Tiebreakers will matter. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool deck here, though. We got Grixis mid-range in the hands of Sergio.
It's really interesting set of cards he puts in there. He's put a lot of the cards that are good in other decks into the same deck. So he has 4 Glory Bringers, he has Chandras, he has Gifted Aetherborn, he has Hostage Takers, Will of Virtuoso, Scarab God. Like, these are all cards that you've seen in other decks, but you've never seen actually all together in the same deck. And usually Grixis, at least, you know, we saw a little earlier, was a control deck. It plays to the board. It plays creatures. It tries to get them through. Uses really, really good value creatures that happen to be good against the threats in the format.
I wonder what the downside is. No attune?
No attune. So his mana is probably a little bit worse, but he does, he does have a bunch of show lands basically to try and fix that. I'm not sure exactly why this deck hasn't really done that well, though there has been
no Rogue Refiner, no Cub, no attune.
So there has been
that stings, man. That's a lot of good stuff.
Lucas Esper Bertu played a black-blue mid-range deck that he actually took to second at Brazilian Nationals.
Okay,
and in some ways, this actually shares a lot of lineage from that deck. It has a bit of a bigger energy, part in the deck because it has Will of Virtuoso, it has Glintleaf Siphoner, but it acts in the same way. It plays a lot of creatures into play. Okay. Justin Rios playing more traditional. Actually, no, he's playing a black heavier 4-color energy deck. A lot of the other 4-color energy decks, they're normal teamer decks that have either Scarab God and sometimes Vraska. What Justin has done is actually, instead of leaning on the red, with 4 Glorybringer, it actually leans on the black. It has cards like Vraska's Contempt, Gonti, more Scarab Gods, Glintleaf Siphoner in the main deck. So in that way, it has probably slightly better removal, probably slightly worse mana because it actually stretches in a worse way, just the way it lays out. But it does have more of the best kind of draws. I think it has a lot more powerful draws.
Justin put his energy on 9, but I think he means 6 here, right?
Yep.
2 from Refiner, 2 from Refiner, 2 from Attune.
Yeah, that's right.
It is an upside down 9, so he's probably just looking at it like a 6 with a little friend.
At the beginning of the tournament, I think the head judge should explain what the pip means on the D12.
Right.
Otherwise,
everybody thinks that there's an upside down 9 and a regular 9. Not really how that works, but yeah. Right now, they're kind of just having a resource fight here, though. An interesting line here from Sergio. He made a Thopter on end step, but left himself 3 energy. Now is attacking with Virtuoso, offering the trade, and now deciding, I think I will use the rest of my energy on that second Thopter.
Yeah, I wonder if he just wasn't sure if Justin was going to block, but I think any opportunity that I would be given to get rid of a Will of Virtuoso, I would probably take really quickly.
Which Justin, by the way, has engineered nicely. He has ended up trading off both Refiners for both Virtuosos, which I think in the dark he'd be pretty happy to do.
Yeah, I think
he's got a card off of those.
Right. Sergio got 2 Thopters. Justin got 2 cards and 4 energy, so I think that Justin came out ahead there. Though Sergio just played a Scarab God the previous turn, and he's going to be able to rebuy those Whirl of Virtuosos or whatever he wants to from any graveyard.
And now he has an active Scarab God too, not just resolved, but it also stayed?
Oh, yeah. No, looks like Justin did not have a removal spell.
Good game.
I mean, Justin has good answers to it. He actually has Vraska's Contempt. And if he's feeling really, really Actually, I actually thought he might actually have Hostage Taker, but it doesn't look like he actually has Hostage Taker in his deck.
Well, Sergio does.
So
There's one on top of his library there. Or in
Yeah.
his hand, I should say.
So, Sergio, Return the Rogue Refiner. I think a lot of players, generally as their first creature they return with Scarab God, they choose the card with the most value. Because you don't know how long Scarab God's going to end up on the table.
yeah.
And so you want to push as many advantages ahead as possible before your opponent actually finds an answer. And if they don't find an answer to the Scarab God, you win anyway, so it doesn't really matter that much. So what they're doing is they're hedging. They might not take the most, the fastest kill, but they want to take the one with the most lasting advantage should Scarab God actually get answered.
Yeah, what we say is you got to make hay while the sun's shining.
We don't say that in Australia.
No, we do. Because I've heard it from Riley.
Okay. Well, we actually do. I just was trying to,
Gotcha.
win the
I
argument.
snap called. I had no idea.
You've probably not even heard Riley say anything close to
No, I have. But
Okay.
he says everything, so
Well, that's
it
true.
doesn't narrow it down.
I'm not going to really compete with Riley with his verbal flourishes.
No, you're not.
So I'm going to just have to stick to,
Raw intelligence and charisma.
well, you got to use what you got.
There you go, buddy. You mean run what you brung. See, we've got sayings for all of this stuff.
That's not a real word.
No, that's why it's colorful language. In the meantime, Sergio somehow has fallen a little bit behind as far as the board state goes, but not really.
Yeah.
Scarab God is so dominant.
Sergio's still at 20. He's got plenty of time. Scarab God, if it's unanswered, is going to really, really just pull Sergio much further ahead. And he can always return a Whirl of Virtuoso to block the majority of Justin's Air Force there.
Sergio's also looks like he's doing something that you don't see that often, though is quite powerful when you do, which is just using the Scarab God as a way to manage the board. Block, sure. If it dies, I'll get it back. Attack with it, sure. You want to set me back a little bit on mana? No problem. As long as it's comes back out of the graveyard, I'm cool. And that's exactly what happened here.
Yeah, this game is still pretty finely in the balance. Justin still has plenty of cards in his hand. It's not as powerful as Scarab God, as far as I can see, unless he actually has a Scarab God. I can't tell what that left multicolored card is in his hand, but he still has some threats to deploy, and Sergio hasn't really run away with it on the board.
Well, Justin's going to kick it off here with another Whirler Virtuoso. Looking to keep on applying pressure. Passes the turn back to Sergio. We know that Sergio has Scarab God in his hand from that return on end step last turn, but he has other stuff he wants to do.
Yeah, he also has a Hostage Taker in his hand, so if Justin tries to put one of his best threats on the table, Sergio is able to actually remove it and get it for himself. It's probably likely that Sergio deploys his Scarab God right now because it looked like Justin couldn't deal with it before. Oh, no, I think he's going to go with a Glint Sleeve Siphoner and keep...
What else is he going to do?
I wonder if he has... No. He's leaving 3 mana up. Now, the amount of cards that actually he can do as an instant in his deck, he has Abrade. He has
Does he
Harness
have
Lightning.
counter magic or something? What
No
does he
counter
do?
magic. So
Kind of
that's
weird, right? Like,
it is really weird because obviously Scarab God is one of the most powerful things you can do, and Siphoner is not particularly great compared to...
no, we'll
the
find
God.
out shortly. By the way, the Siphoner got pushed down a shaft there. This is Sparta style.
Okay. He has 1 Abrade that...
Okay.
He was just worried about the board being too flooded and getting overwhelmed if he went with his Scarab God.
And apparently he was had every right to, because Justin Rios just has a never-ending string of Whirler Virtuosos. You still have to think that Sergio, though, is going to be able to grind this one out if that Scarab God goes unchecked.
Yeah, I think so. It's possible that he just wanted to do double spell in a turn. I mean, you'll hear that term, double spell. It's really, really important because cards that are in your hand aren't good. Like, you don't actually have the advantage of them until you actually cast them. And so any game that you finish with cards in your hand, they're basically as good as not in your, as not drawing them.
Mm-hmm. Once again, Sergio disrespects the Scarab God. Though this time casts a Glorybringer instead. Not bad.
Yeah, if you've got to follow something other than a god, a dragon is not a bad one.
I mean, I like double spelling as much as anybody else, but I really like casting the Scarab God.
The funny thing is Scarab God basically allows you to double spell the next turn because you can, tap 4 mana and tap 4 mana again, get more creatures out of the graveyard.
Yeah, I was going to let you keep going with this analogy, but if you do it again, you've already won, so...
Yeah. Justin has one card in hand, which is a Harness Lightning, but really nothing as powerful as the Scarab God, though he just drew, I think he drew Gonti.
He did. Good lord.
So luxurious.
Let's see if he can hit a Scarab God.
Ooh, that would be really good for him, though he would be able to cast it this turn.
Ooh, Hostage Keeper. Hello, friend.
Hostage Taker is definitely...
Oh, yeah, Hostage Taker.
Yeah.
Wow.
Really, really great card to hit with the Gonti.
Now, has Sergio... Did he wait too long?
It's very... I don't know if he...
He's not going to lose this game still, right?
I mean, so Justin's at 6. So Sergio still has quite a lot of time.
Still has a 4/4.
Yeah, I mean, the Glorybringer is exerted.
But the Rogue Refiner's big.
Yeah, no, that's true. I'm not exactly sure who's advantage. I do think Sergio is still advantaged, though he's going to think he's even more advantaged if he, if he didn't know about the Hostage Taker. And it might be time. Yep, he's going to go for the... Oh, he's going for another dragon. Actually, I like this play because it actually, if he doesn't have the removal spell...
It's lethal.
Yes, it's lethal.
You like lethal plays?
I do like lethal plays.
I'm learning about you in the booth here. Well, he does have the removal, though. Justin Rios uses Harness Lightning to shoot down the dragon.
I think it might still be right for him to attack with the Rogue Refiner.
Just trade it off for old Gonti there.
Yeah, I think that Justin can't afford to take the hit and... Well,
he did not attack?
Yeah.
He left it back.
I mean, nothing's going to happen with Gonti. That's the thing. So
there's Rogue Refiner.
A really good card to get. He's going to want to actually... Getting land is not so bad for him here. I mean, I don't think you ever want to draw too much land, but the thing is, if you get land, you can actually cast the Hostage Taker and use it on the same turn. But he decides to actually just get rid of the Glorybringer before it untaps after exerting.
This is going to clear the way for some number of attacks. Wow, Scarab God in hand for Justin Rios?
Yeah. So I think Sergio might have just waited too long. This is actually really
is
getting
this
away
starting
from...
to get sketchy here?
Yeah. Oh, I actually think that Justin might be ahead right now.
Oh, no.
Because let's say he plays Scarab God. If he doesn't have a removal spell, then Justin can actually unleash Sergio's Glorybringer on the other side. And the thing with... Oh, that was a really good draw.
Cancel that order. Here comes Hostage Taker taking a Hostage Taker hostage.
and what's going to be great for him is the Glorybringer has haste, so he can attack. He can use the exert on Gonti, which he does. Now, Justin has to chump. And
okay, well, maybe it wasn't too late given the fact that he went Glorybringer, Hostage Taker.
Yeah, now Justin really needs a removal spell. Needs a removal spell to kill that Hostage Taker, then gets back his Hostage Taker. Hostage takes Sergio's Glorybringer, kind of stabilizes, but it's still going to be tough.
How about a forest? How do you feel about a
Forest, not the greatest.
Not going to have enough mana to activate it right away.
So the one thing that he does have on his side is that Glorybringer is exerted from the last turn.
Okay.
So he can play this his own. He can play his own Scarab God.
Looks like he may have not.
I wonder what he passed for. I'm not exactly sure why you would pass.
What's his thought process here?
I do not know. I mean, he got to have something in mind here. This is quite like I'm not even sure what he could possibly be thinking here.
We did see that he had it, right? Maybe
okay.
It's something else?
No, because if he played his Scarab God, it would have been hostage taken.
Yeah.
And then that's the game for him.
Then it's over.
Yeah, it's basically over.
So basically he's just hoping to peel an untapped land here and go Scarab God, bring back something.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
But it looks like Sergio actually has enough threats now to go lethal.
He does indeed.
Yeah, we happened to just miss the hostage taker under hostage taker. It's our bad there, but Justin did not, and he knew what was up there.
Didn't matter though, because Sergio Ferry had it all and picks up game number 1 here in our time walk match in round number 15.
Sergio's deck really showing the power level of the cards that he's chosen to put in his deck. I mean, as we said earlier, his mana's probably a little worse, and he doesn't have counter magic, and so he can't really stop some of the more important spells, but he really just haymakered Justin out of this game. Glorybringer, Scarab God, Hostage Taker, these are all super haymakers.
Very powerful stuff happening repeatedly here. Game number 2 is now upon us, though.
Magic player Robert DiMaggio and Dennis Brown, please report to this modern challenge.
Glint-Sleeve Siphoner, very good in these kind of, I wouldn't call them grindy, but it has a lot to do with how many resources you have, and making sure you actually hit your land drops with Siphoner is actually one of the more underrated things that can happen with that card.
Yeah, it usually leaves back some energy. Like in this case, his worst case scenario there is he plays it, picks up an energy. Sure, it trades for a removal spell, but, you know, these little increments add up. A Thopter here, an extra energy there.
It's interesting that he actually, that Justin kept in Aethersphere Harvest, or actually
brought it in.
No, he kept it, and he actually has it.
He does have him in the main.
Yeah, it does have it in the main.
Okay.
Just double checking here. Oh no, he has it 2 in the sideboard, so he brought them in. But it's not like the match is that racy, and that's when I generally will bring in Aethersphere Harvester. It is a fairly resilient card because it's not always a creature, so sometimes you'll be able to slip it through. Also, it's not bad versus Glorybringer because he can't actually use the Exert to kill it and allows him to block. So it's not without some value, but it's not something that I would go to, you know, it wouldn't be the first thought to bring in after sideboarding. Ooh, Sergio has a Hostage Taker, which usually doesn't take artifacts, but could this time.
Always bothered me that it can do that.
It's not really a hostage, is it?
It's just stealing.
Well, Stealing Taker is not a great name for a card.
Right. You see the problem I have with it, don't you?
Well,
Your card's called Hostage Taker.
Maybe they.
If you go and try to take somebody's, painting hostage, you just stole it. What are you doing?
It's pretty semantic.
What are you doing with your life, Hostage Taker? Here's Vraska's Contempt, though, to take down this Siphoner.
We'll get the Flavor Judge to make sure what the ruling
he
is.
He did just top 8 the GP, so.
It's true. Ben Stark, well-renowned Flavor Judge. I think the flavor of the Pirates taking it makes sense. It's just the name that Marshall has a problem with. What a stickler.
The card is great.
Your draft is ready at the Chandra banner.
Yeah, it's definitely one of my favorite cards from Ixalan.
Draft 23.
And it's really showing its stripes in the standard format.
How do you feel about the Scarab God?
Well, I really like Scarab God.
Is it one of your favorite cards?
It is actually definitely one of my favorite cards.
Wow.
Scarab God usually doesn't actually, drive a car because they usually can fly around or something like that. I don't know many gods that have to drive. But In this case, he gets into his Harvester. And Justin actually makes it lifelink to try and make sure that to stabilize the race.
Is this a Doomfall here from Sergio?
Yeah, and it looks like he's choosing the creature mode, so exiling that creature, which
Do you think that's good or bad?
it's very good. Because I don't know if you
Wow.
realize, like,
He just nabbed the Scarab God with Doomfall? That is insane.
yeah, he's been really lucky there too, because usually,
Man.
Scarab God has creatures.
Friends, yeah. Also, Justin's going to be bummed that he attacked with the Ethersphere Harvester. I don't know that he shouldn't have, but he's just going to be like, I would super give you 3 life to keep the Scarab God around.
Yeah, that's actually one of the interesting things about choosing cards that people don't expect. I mean, Doomfall's, it's not like unknown, but it's not.
It is not popular.
Yeah, not right now.
No.
And so, if let's say Doomfall was in more decks, Justin may have just left that back.
Yeah. But instead, Sergio got absurd value and has to breathe a huge sigh of relief as this potentially game-dominating bomb is now exiled and not coming back, and he actually gets to play a game of Magic. That said, he's pretty far behind here.
Yeah, no, I think Justin still is in the driver's seat, mainly because Sergio hasn't had the smoothest mana draw. It's been a little bit constrained on mana. Justin has been able to get threats and still attack, gain some life difference with the lifelink on Aethersphere Harvester, but he's almost out of cards. He's got one more card in hand. He's really hoping that he gets to untap with the Siphoner so he can actually refill his hand. Sergio does have a way to get that card off the table with his Hostage Taker, but he might have something else. He has a Harness Lightning and Glorybringer, but he can't use the Glorybringer since his Spirebuff Canal came into play tapped.
How about a hostage taker?
See, this
Taking an actual hostage.
But then if you take a hostage,
Yeah.
why do they go on the other side eventually? They don't.
You know why? Stockholm Syndrome.
Oh. Okay.
Tell us a story.
It does tell a story. I would never help
Your captor?
Yeah, never.
Okay. You are impervious. You have protection from Stockholm Syndrome. Most humans don't. Another Australian thing? Or?
Well, Stockholm's not in Australia. I don't know. So that's how we have protection from it.
Theory does not hold up. But in the meantime, Justin Rios continuing to apply pressure here to Sergio Ferry. Again, just as a reminder, both of these players are at 11-2-1 and not necessarily into the top 8 with a victory, though they will throw their hat in the ring for a grouping of players that will make it in at this record. It is not guaranteed to be a win-in, though, for these players.
Justin's still trying to push his advantage, like offering up a trade of his Rogue Refiner on the Whirl of Virtuoso. I think it's probably too hopeful to think that Sergio will block with the Hostage Taker.
Out of cards here for Justin Rios. He just plays his last card out of hand, a land, and says, your move.
And
He's down to just a Whirler Virtuoso, a bunch of energy, and an Ethersphere Harvester.
yeah, unless Justin draws something pretty significant, I do think Sergio has turned the corner. He has a lot of good cards in hand, including Glorybringer.
Does he not have double red, or is there a
He has a Canyon. Oh, yeah, it's a Dragon Skull Summit and a
slew?
Spirebluff Canal. So
Okay.
he can't actually cast it, but I think
Okay.
he wanted to make sure that the Hostage Taker didn't get killed in the interim.
Yeah. He's making the safe play and getting the glint sleeve siphoner going. It makes sense. This also allows him to leave up not 1 but 2 copies of Harness Lightning. So he really does have all of his bases covered, and the next turn he can just windmill old Glorybringer.
Yep. So Justin had quite a bit of energy
He had
stored up.
10, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So made 3 Thopters, really trying to finish it off. I think he drew a land. It looked like a Blooming Marsh.
Okay.
It's not a blooming onion. Homage.
Wow, you really are Australian. My goodness.
Blooming onion is not something we eat in Australia. It's really
Oh, I know that's a lie. I've seen it at Outback.
it's a lie perpetrated by Outback. Outback is fake Australia.
No worries. Fake Australia.
Yeah.
Didn't even know that was a thing. All right, so Harness Lightning looks like it's going to pick off this Ether Sphere Harvester at the cost of an additional 2 energy from Sergio, and he's not done yet. He wants to protect that life total, and I guess he's just going to prevent any further Thopter shenanigans by using Harness Lightning on Whirler Virtuoso and then also blocking. So he's reducing Justin down to just 1 attacking Thopter this turn.
Yeah, that's
And
actually
he's
really
just taking 1 damage.
I think it's really important because I think he wants to actually start drawing cards with the Siphoner. And so by blocking early, he's able to, keep his life total at a reasonable rate and then start getting some advantage from the Siphoner.
The downside, of course, is that he had to use up most of his energy to make that work. So his Siphoner only has 1 energy in the bank left and won't be able to draw a card this turn.
Yep. The Sergio does still have his Glorybringer, so now he's really pushing an advantage.
Can he just attack with everything? It looks like it. That's going to get him an additional energy from the Glint Sleeve Siphoner. And it is a massive attack here. 8 damage. Pass the turn back. And Justin really at the mercy of the top of his library. And has not been kind to him the last 2 turns. A couple of lands off the top right when he really needs to find a haymaker.
Yeah. All the life he gained from the Harvester is really just draining away right now.
So this is not what he wanted to see. One of his weaker draws for sure.
He really wants a Scarab God.
Yeah, and he had one.
He did.
It fell down.
He needed to take care of it a little better.
Yeah.
Okay.
In the meantime, Sergio does get to draw a card here off of Glint Sleeve Siphoner. Of course, one for his draw step.
Ooh.
And I think he's looking really good to win this match at this point.
Yeah, he has a Vizier in his hand, which is really good because it can copy
How many faces?
Many.
Okay, all right. I thought maybe you knew.
No, a few. He could take the glory, copy the Glorybringer, push through. I think
You don't even exert, right?
I don't
Just
know why
kill
you
the
would.
Thopter if you do.
Yeah, I think he killed a Thopter because the Servant can attack, so his life total's pretty safe.
Yeah. I mean, I understand, like, you want to exert sometimes just so that in case it dies, you get something out of it.
Right.
But it's actually a really reasonable amount of damage at this point to keep piling in and just get him dead next turn.
Yeah, I just feel that
It may be off the top.
It may be hard to come back from it. Like, it will take all the ways he could come back out of the picture by killing a creature.
Oh, he did it again. He had it on the 6, and then he went to the upside down 9. Justin. Oh, I went back in time and he fixed it. Oh, man.
This is a time walk match. Somehow.
My voice carried through the echoes of time, and he immediately fixed it. Justin, thank you, my friend. This match has not gone well for you, but I do appreciate that.
You heard it here first. Marshall is a time traveler.
Indeed.
So if you need to know who wins the Super Bowl or maybe the NBA,
Well, I only go back.
you want to go back?
Yeah.
How many times have you gone
This
back?
was recorded earlier.
Oh, okay.
I can't go into the future.
Fair enough.
So Sergio just needs to kind of plow through this Whirler Virtuoso here, and then he's going to find himself with a victory. It shouldn't be too difficult from this point either.
Yeah,
He is hemming and hawing a bit here because he's got one copy of Harness Lightning that he's thinking about maybe taking down one of these potential blockers with. So, boom. In there. And he's going to go ahead and exert the Glorybringer to force the issue and kill the Whirler Virtuoso right now.
In 4th place with 39 points, Ben Stark.
And we've got 2 Thopters. Yeah, this is just such... It really shows off what happens when you can draw some of the more powerful, hard-hitting cards versus when the 4-color energy deck falls a little flat.
Yeah.
And just draw some of its less impactful cards like Servant of the Conduit here late in the game.
Yeah, Sergio doesn't really have a lot of low impact cards. I mean, he doesn't really
Yeah.
have cards like Servant the Conduit.
Yeah.
Nearly every one of his cards creates value. He has like Champion of Wits, filters a lot of cards. He has Gifted Aetherborn, which has lifelink and gains him some life, especially against decks like Ramunap Red.
Well, it looks like Sergio is going to be in the mix here and maybe make it into the top 8 with this Grixis mid-range deck once he finishes off Justin Rios, who's going to have to settle for a pile of pro points and some cash here, it looks like, because I don't think he has outs anymore. Even if this is the Scarab God, it seems like it's just too late. Look at that board state. And that is going to do it. In fact, Sergio Ferry with this cool deck. Who needs green anyway?
Yeah, just really, really just playing a lot of haymakers and powerful cards.
Sounds like we've got more Magic lined up for you here as well. We're actually going to be watching Game 3 of this. And this is Game 3 right now? Or is this Game 1? Okay, it says 0-0. Okay, cool. All right, so that'll be updated. But this is, in fact, Game 3. And this one is a win and in. That's only one loss. Oh, wow, 12-1-2. What a weird record for Alex.
Yeah.
He's playing some slow control deck and got into some mirrors.
Yeah, I know Alex from a while back, and he's actually playing, I believe he's playing Approach.
Gregory Dreher, your draft is waiting for you.
Yeah, that cannot actually be the right record, can it, TBS?
Yeah, no.
How does he play 15 games versus 14 on the other side?
That
is next level.
I believe he's 11-1-1 during this game. So
yeah,
let's not say if this is a spoiler.
Chet said it's a weird record because it's impossible. Like, all right, well, you do have a strong point there. I knew it looked strange.
It's hopefully it isn't a spoiler, or it may be a spoiler. It could be a spoiler.
I wouldn't even speculate at this point, TBS. I wouldn't even think about speculating.
Well,
stop speculating.
Marshall, you're a Time Lord, so you probably actually know.
I can go back and look, but I'm not going to do it just because I can. I wonder what his record actually is.
I believe it's 11-1-2 because I'm friends with Alex. I've known him for a while, and he told me actually probably 3 rounds ago that he actually had 2 draws and 1 loss. And I said, well, if you win out, you're probably in. And he actually has won the last 2.
I thought you were going to say, I'm friends with Alex, and he plays really slow.
I mean, he's playing Approach, which
it is one of the slower
is really slow.
It is.
One of his games he played earlier, he was 1-0 up, and his opponent won this game 2 on turn 5. So they ended up with a draw. It looks like Matthew Davis is playing the deck that I talked about a bit earlier, the one popularized by Lucas Esperbetu, the Brazilian Pro Tour champion. He played that at Brazilian Nationals.
It looks cool.
Yeah, it's basically a tempo blue-black deck that has a lot of like good cards like Gonti, Aetherborn, Kitesail Freebooter. Has things like Scarab God as well. Just very, very good at kind of getting to the board and providing some value there. Have a look at Alex's mana base here. That's every dual land known to man.
No kidding. He is not messing around. Contrast that with the other side, all basics.
Yeah. Nice basics too.
No, terrible choice.
You're not a fan of
They're
the
not even on the basic land power rankings. Yeah. The official.
Yeah. What makes it official for you?
What?
Why is it? Why do you have the official?
No, they just are the official.
Oh.
I don't decide these things.
What's number 1? on your basic land power list.
Beta. What?
Okay, I agree with that.
Okay. I was going to say, you can leave the booth if you disagree, but that's about your only other option.
No,
I can do
actually-
this by myself. It'll be me in chat. But you agree?
I do agree.
All right, you're welcome to stay then.
Ooh,
Archfiend of Ifnir just hit the battlefield for Matthew Davis.
I think he first picked that one.
He's gonna have to cycle a lot of cards to get that Scarab God away, but I would first pick it too. What is going on here? What is he gonna do with it? Just start slamming?
I guess so, but he doesn't really have anything to discard or cycle in his hand.
No, and he doesn't want to discard any creatures because oh no, Fumigate from Alex. So I was just gonna say that the Scarab God has no food.
But now,
But the graveyards are now nicely stocked, and yes, this will take a little while, as Alex is going to have to recast the Scarab God and get it through any counter magic. And look at this. This is interesting now. Matthew's just like, go ahead. Run it out there, bud.
yeah,
See what happens. It's going to get disallowed right into yesterday.
Alex does have counter spells in his deck, so there may be a little bit of a war over this god. Oh, Matthew using his Gontied disallow, but also has one of his own to
So
counter.
he can just straight fight with Jace's defeat there.
Yep. I've never seen Jace defeat Jace.
But ultimately, Matthew Davis won that fight.
He did.
Wow.
So the god is in the graveyard, not coming back. But I suspect that it's going to be tough for him to win because, one, it's a kind of a stalemate, but he does have Search for Azcanta, though I think that Alex might not flip it for a while because Matthew has a Field of Ruin ready to kill the Sunken Ruin.
Okay.
Very flavorful ruin, killing ruin.
That's another Gonti Lord of Luxury for Matthew. Man,
Oh,
getting your own spell countered by your other own spell is
Yeah.
such a beating.
wow.
Oh, man, another disallow for Matthew.
Jeez.
And he's actually just out counterspelling the Esper Approach deck handily here. And what is he going to get now? How about another counterspell?
Yeah.
Or a Glimmer of Genius?
I think he wants to pull ahead on cards.
Absolutely. Don't
I think-
you always?
Yeah, I think that Alex actually may flip the Search for Azcanta because he's not going to be able to beat both Field of Ruins, and he needs to get some gas right now. Like, I don't think waiting on it too long is going to help him.
But what if that's a sweet card on top of his library?
You still get it.
All right.
See?
Whoop,
Oh,
whoop. What was it? It was a double face card.
yeah. I think it might be
Another
another
one?
search. Look at that. So every as kind of basically turns
Just
into it.
fully represented here.
Yeah. Also,
All right.
it's actually good for him because I mean, it basically is a Supreme Will activation for a land, so not too bad. It replaces itself.
Eventually.
It's a little slow.
Yep. But he does have time. He's only being attacked for 2 here.
Yeah.
And, sifting through your library when you're at relative parity is a big advantage if your opponent's just cold drawing lands half the time.
Right.
And, of course, activating Search is a big game. Now, that will be the last time that he gets to do it, at least from that particular Sunken Ruin. As you see Matthew Davis snap it off with Field of Ruin.
Mm-hmm.
Bye-bye. Still, the backup plan's in place,
Yeah. No.
and he can just make him do it again.
And Alex doesn't lose a card to this because he actually gets a basic out of his deck, which is still very, very important for the control deck.
By the way, he gets a number 3 on the official.
3.
Oh, yeah. Unhinged?
What?
Beautiful.
Where do the unstable ones go in
I don't
your
know.
list?
I don't know. I've never even seen one.
Really?
I mean, I've seen them online.
I know, but if you had to,
Dude, you got to hold one in your hand
That's true.
first. It's
That
a
is true.
personal thing, Uh-oh. Disallow. Matthew Davis is got to be thinking that this one's starting to slip away from him thanks to Search for Azcanta.
yeah, and Gonti not really providing much of a clock. Well,
Right. That's the problem, isn't it?
Yeah, while he is a lord of luxury, he's not a lord of beatdown.
No. He's like organizing his jewelry collection over there, but doesn't have that much time to deliver the beats. And once again, Matthew is going to have to use a Field of Ruin. But the interesting thing is that Alex is getting an activation
Yeah.
each time. And even if, ideally, he'd like to just keep activating it for the rest of the game. But if your worst case is that you activate it, get a card back, and they have to, and then they kill it, you're still just getting ahead.
Yeah, what he should do is actually use the Field of Ruin on the Azcanta at the end of turn. Alex will use the Azcanta, and then he still actually has an untapped land, so he could play the Glimmer of Genius at the end step. The reason he might not have done that is because he knows that Alex has a disallow.
Ooh, look at this. Yeah, I was going to say disallow is a real thing against Field of Ruin, though. Here, this seems
I think
slightly more important. Liliana Death's Majesty goes on the stack, but that is where she will stay as she moves over to the graveyard thanks to that disallow from Alex, who is now going to start activating his search for Azcanta. And Matthew really does need to take this time to get rid of it.
He's going to wait for Alex to show what card he's going to get, and then likely respond.
While still on the end step here.
Mm-hmm.
Got to do it.
End step's my favorite step.
Oh, it is?
Oh, maybe attack step. I really like attack step too.
I was going to say, end step does rank high on the phases and steps power rankings. Do you know what number one is?
Draw step is
That's
number
correct.
one.
It's draw step.
What's the last one?
It's interestingly, last step
Yeah.
is end of combat.
Yeah, that's not a great one.
Yeah. Pretty bad. This has been a sweet game, man. I really like this blue-black control deck that Matthew has.
Yeah, but it's not really kind of...
He is behind.
Yeah.
But he has been able... You can see that he's made sure to cover all of his bases, right? Like, that was 2 Search for Azcantas. Both got transformed, and both of them he escaped with minimal value. Oh, my God. Pull from tomorrow for the entire world?
Speaking of traveling through time, Alex has gone to tomorrow and probably a few days
This is
next
for,
week.
This is for 8?
Yep. I really think that...
Oh, Alex, I'm loving it, buddy. Discards a land, as you might suspect. And that might be game. I do not see how Matthew Davis can come back from that. Because, when you think of haymakers in these type of matchups, that's what you're talking about, right? Reload my hand.
Yeah, I think only way that Matthew can kind of come back is if he has overflowing insight in his deck or something like that.
Yeah. And he targets Alex with it?
Yeah. Goes for the decking plan.
I think he drew Commit to Memory, perhaps. Wow. Alex just living the dream over there.
Even though the life totals are pretty high, it's still like 24 to 14, Alex really is almost about to make Matthew concede. Like, it's that close.
It really is. Even though Matthew's the one who's beating down with Gonti still.
Yeah.
He does have to throw something at Gonti at some point here.
Ooh.
He wants to draw it again.
No, it's consigned to Oblivion.
Oh, it's consigned to Oblivion. He wants to just play it again.
Yeah. But now he could Oblivion. Get a little 2-for-1 aftermath action.
Yeah, but when you got 8 for 1.
You got to get them back one at a time.
I love this deck, by the way. Consigned to Oblivion? Yes, please.
It actually seems that Matthew might just be straight blue-black control rather than that that mid-range beatdown deck. It's just after sideboard, he actually has more creatures than I expected.
Look at this. He's still applying pressure. Oh, no. Oh, no. Alex has Torrential Gearhulk here to negate. I guess he's going to go for Disallow for some reason. It doesn't matter. He's going to counter Liliana, Death's Majesty, and put out a nice, big, 5-powered beater here and knock Matthew Davis down to 19. Now, this is going to halt the beats from Gonti, but Alex still needs to find a way to get Gonti off the battlefield.
Look at that.
This is going to just get countered. And Alex has a Glimmer. Looks like they hit extra turns in the past. Oh, boy.
If it's extra turns, and this is turn 0.
Okay,
ooh,
cast out is what he's going to use to get rid of Gonti.
right. If it's
And against blue-black, cast out's pretty much
Oh.
here to stay.
this is turn 1 or turn 0. I can't remember. I can't
Well,
tell.
they put a 1 and then they took it away, so maybe it was 0.
Yeah, I think this is 0, so Alex's turn will be turn 1. So if nothing else happens, Alex will have Matthew down to 4 by the end of turn 5. So he's going to have to find 4 damage somehow. So he can do that with a few, like just a creature or another Gearhulk. Alex now attacking on turn 1, bringing Matthew down to 14. But he does have a Scarab God in his hand, so he has enough like power to actually win by turn 5. And
Easily.
Yeah.
I mean, what does he have? 2 activations available?
Oh, yeah.
Just
Nice.
1, maybe.
Uh,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's
Yes.
2.
He has 2 after casting it. I don't think Alex wants to get the 3rd draw.
So,
That-
as an expert in the booth, would you say that's good or bad?
that's good,
Okay.
but you know,
You're doing good. You're
Yeah.
doing very well in the booth here. Get back a Gonti and an
Ooh.
Archfiend of Vifnir.
yeah,
Oh,
getting back
baby.
Gonti is great.
I'm loving that.
A 4/4 Gonti.
Still has death touch.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, let's do that. Let's do that, Alex. Zombie Gonti?
Zonti.
Sure.
Zombti. Yeah, it's better.
Zombti?
Yeah.
He took a consign to oblivion. This is just a beating.
With that consign, he can. The funny thing is, when he casts consign, it's actually the Oblivion is going to go to Matthew's graveyard, so there is some value there.
Yeah. I have seen that get people into major trouble. Well, he does have Vraska's Contempt, but the damage has to be done at this point because he just targeted a Torrential Gearhulk on its way out. He's still going to get it.
Mm-hmm.
Going to cast a Glimmer or something here, and it's just like,
I actually
come on.
think that he probably shouldn't have tapped out because he actually had enough power in play. He has a counterspell in hand. Not that it's likely for him to lose here, but I think that having the counter available saves you much. Like you basically win if you have the Scarab God in play, and you should really, really protect that.
just warp your entire game plan around making sure that that's a priority because you just know you can't lose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With this situation, if Matthew kind of run some removal spells, it's possible that he's not going to have enough. It's unlikely, but it's possible.
Because we're in turns.
Yep.
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying. And you can understand why he wants to do that. He wants to try to get that board built out so that he can make sure to kill Matthew in a timely fashion here. Also, another draw for Alex is really bad.
Yeah. Okay. Matthew's on 3, so he's got 3 lethal creatures facing him. And
Yep, and that's going to do it. Alex Lloyd wins a long and drawn-out match on the Time Walk and puts himself into a good spot. Now, you said he's a buddy of yours?
yeah, no, I've just known him, like, we used to play some other different games a while back, and you know, he's actually made another top 8 at a Grand Prix. I can't remember exactly what the date was.
Okay, so we're going to announce the top 8 here, by the way, because that went out while we were watching this Time Walk match. So let's get into that. In first place, Sergio Garcia with 40 points, and you can see Lawrence Vess is number 2. Trey Van Cleve with 39 points heads the pack at that point level. Benjamin Stark, a.k.a. Ben S. Yep, he's in there with that cool red deck that he built. Corey Baumeister right behind him playing Teamer. Alex Lloyd, there we go. We see him in here at an awkward 38 points, kind of in the middle there. And then, and as you can see, things did get pretty tight for those 37 pointers. Petr Sahurek is in. Sam Zakweski is in. And, Sergio Ferry almost made it in. That was the one that we watched on there, but he didn't make it on tiebreakers, ends up getting 9th place.
It's always rough.
Yeah, 10th. You can see Brad finished 10th as you work your way down the thing. All right, so we've got a short commercial break. When we come back, though, we'll be getting right into the top 8. Don't go anywhere.